Good morning, December 6th, so Wednesday, 2017. I'm doing a day hike and I wanted to show those of you that probably some of you have already been here before or are going to do the PCT. I thought I'd show you Warner Springs. I'm going to be starting today doing a 10-mile round trip. So I want to go 5 miles out and head back and do 5 miles back. So I thought I'd show you Warner Springs is at the 109.5 mile marker. So I'll show you when you leave here, the first bunch of miles. It's pretty flat until the last mile or two will start to go up a canyon, but it's really pretty. And I thought I'd show you what you'll see when you leave. You're done with section A by now and you're starting section B. So it's the start of section B. It is, like I said, December 6th and it's about 6:30 in the morning. It's pretty cold. That's why I have a jacket on right now. Got into the high 30s last night. So some of you that think it's always hot in the desert, it's not true. So anyway, let me show you the facilities here. So this is the main street. Across the street is the school, and this is the entrance to Warner Springs where you'll stay here. A lot of people think Zero's here. It's around the 7th day of your hike. Here's the main community center. This time of year there's not much going on, but I guess they call it the resource center. But down the street, down you can see a car kind of going that way. About a half mile to a mile is where the post office is, where you pick up your package. So anyway, this is it. Actually pretty good. They have bucket showers. You can, they kind of have like curtains, and you can do a bucket shower here and wash your clothes here in buckets and hang them on the fences or whatever. Over there is you actually have an indoor bathroom, which is nice. And that field that's straight ahead with that big huge tree to the left, there you can see orange buckets in it. That whole area is where you can set up a camp for free if you're doing a Zero or you just want to spend the night. So that's about it. There's not a lot here. There's some old football and baseball fields. I don't know if they still use them. Maybe for the school they do. Anyway, so that's the resource center. And I'll show you in a minute where you walk out when you start the trail again. Fire station. And we're going back to the trail to get started. It's been windy last couple days and kind of dry, so it's high right now for fire danger. And there's the beloved PCT sign, big one. So over there is where you'll actually come out when you're done with this section. Come out over there. It's a very nice, pretty tree area next to a small creek, usually in the winter, in the spring. But anyway, this will be the gate, and then we'll start going this way. So just heading out of Warner Springs. It's cold, but a beautiful morning. You do share this field and trail, this portion of it, with cows, so sometimes maybe we'll see one up close, but also lots of cow poop on the trail. They love to use the trail because it's, I think, smooth and even. But anyway, this is what you'll see when you leave Warner Springs. It's just beautiful in this. It's December, of course, and everything's pretty much dead. But in the spring, it's really pretty. It can get breezy out here, and this grass is normally tall green grass and kind of blows in the wind. It's really pretty. So when you're coming through here on the PCT, it's much prettier than this. But I love the open space out here. It's just pretty amazing. Some cows down there. Nice sunrise. And some really pretty parts with a lot of trees that I'll show you here in a little bit. But as you leave Warner Springs, it's pretty flat. Not hard at all, at least for the first probably 3 to 4 miles, and then you go up a semi-steep canyon, so it gets a little bit harder. But the first 3 or 4 miles out, it's a good warm-up out of town. back where I came from. It's about 7 o'clock, so I've been on trail almost a half hour. This next part's pretty cool. It's a lot of really old oak trees, and it'll get much denser tree-wise here in a little bit. My favorite time to hike in the morning. It's just so pretty and quiet out. You can see these really old, massive oak trees. There's a camp spot. I think it says 22 on there. So yeah, it's not a public place, especially for Southern California, and what's technically the desert. We do have trees and mountains and things like that, but so it's a nice respite before you on the trail. As we go another mile or two, we'll start going up a canyon, and it's back to the kind of full sun exposure and kind of just desert sage and brush, and great views up there, but it's not as pretty as these big trees. So anyway, this is what I walked through. Okay, so I've gone about 2.5 miles, and you'll get to the 79, which is the road that leads into Warner Springs, which is a very small town, very small. But when you get to the 79, as you can see, you can go under it here. That's the trail. This last spring, when they're coming through here, the water was probably, I don't even know, I would say it was 20-30 feet wide, that whole sandy area right there, which is pretty rare for SoCal. I mean, it was all coming down from the mountains and springs and stuff like that. But so this is where I've come from. There's a creek on my right. And as I said before, I'm heading up towards that, one of the valleys up here. I'll show you a good campsite in case you don't stop in Warner Springs, or you want to just get out of town, and not out of town, but get out of that area and camp. About 3.5 miles outside of Warner, there's a campground. It was actually the first place I ever camped overnight when I was doing my first overnight trip on the PCT a few years ago when I was a newbie. So I'll show you that to you on video when I get closer. Anyway, really pretty morning. Here's that campground that I referred to. It is at the 112.5 mile marker, so exactly 3 miles from Warner Springs. And there's a lot of area. It even has like horse tie-offs if you're, because a lot of people ride this trail on the horses. You're in a little valley. This is, it's cold right now, it's December, but in the summer this is a nice, really nice respite from the sun, especially if you set up camp here or have lunch. This shed's here, and there's really nothing in it. Some people bail and put their garbage in there, which is totally wrong, guys. But you can see there's plenty of campgrounds here. This is a big fire here, fire area. Cool table, actually. We use this, I told you it was my first time I ever was on the PCT. We used this to put our stoves on and cook and just hang out. So, and at the time we didn't do a fire, so we didn't have that. The trail goes out that way by that post. But there's room. I mean, you could probably put 30 or 40 tents if you had to here or more. But I just thought I'd show that to you. Okay, so literally as you leave that little small campground at mile marker 112.5, you go 50 yards and you go to this creek bed, which is either empty. You may have some water in the spring when you guys come through, so it might be a water source. But it's you never know, year to year. And then really, literally as you leave this campground and start hiking, it's uphill. And I mean, it's uphill. I'm only gonna go a mile or two more and then head back. But I can't see here, maybe when we get up higher I can show you, but it's probably 5 to 7 miles uphill up the ravine. And I just went up a little further, and as I said, it's quite the trail. You can see, I told you 5 to 7 miles. I don't know if it shows on this, but you go way up this side on the right and then across, and left and up and over those. So it's a good 5 or 6 miles, and it's pretty strong hill all the way up. And like I said, on that side you're exposed to the sun, so the views are awesome, but it can get super warm. When I did this last spring, we went from Warm Springs, we did 48 or something miles to Paradise Valley Cafe in 2.5 days, and it got close to 100, and it was April or May. And almost worse was horse flies. And I live in San Diego and been out here. You don't really get mosquitoes much, but there were horse flies, and they were stinging all the way. So it was like 2.5 days of never really getting to take a break, because the minute you stop, they started biting you. So that was kind of weird. I don't know if it was an anomaly or if it's normal, but I've been out here a lot and I've never seen that. But just kind of beware in case they're here. So I'm still working my way up. I am only doing, as I said, a 5-mile hike and then 5 back. I'm getting close to that point, but I thought I'd also say, because I have done this section, most people when they get into Warm Springs resupply or take a zero. They have food, and sometimes they barbecue. You can buy burgers if you want. They have bucket showers and place to do laundry, like in a bucket, and hang your clothes out. And really a good place for a zero. So whether you do or not, once you leave, most people try to do the next 17 miles to Mike's place, which is a great place. Look it up. It's about 17, maybe 18 miles from Warm Springs, so it's a lot of uphill elevation gain. So just leave really early. Try to beat a lot of the heat if you can. I'm pretty fast on the flat and downhill and slow on the uphill, so it took me about, it was super hot when I did it, almost 100. And I had to take a lot of breaks, but I think it took me about 10-11 hours to go the 18 miles. But it's because I took a lot of breaks towards the end when I was getting tired. But the heat kind of zaps me. But definitely, you know, if you're leaving, you're starting your day at Warner, try to shoot for Mike's place, which is 17-18 miles. And that's a good place to rest and stop. And okay, so got the 5 miles in and on my way back down now. It'll all be down or pretty flat all the way back to the car, which is nice. I was gonna film right at the 5-mile mark. There's a dry creek and stuff, but I was having problems with my phone. Storage was almost full, so I had to delete some stuff. So, and I've got some stuff to do later today, so I had to kind of turn around and head back. So I didn't have time to film it, but I'm filming. I got my camera going again, and so I'll show you a little bit on the way back in case you're a southbounder. But sometimes seeing it, the same trail from the opposite direction is kind of a cool perspective, and see things you don't see on the way up. So anyway, so heading back 5 more miles and back, I'll be done.